All right, so this intersection here is located in Digby, Route 303, Robinson Weir Road. It's the only provincial intersection. I guess this is technically not Digby, it's Conway. Digby does manage their own signal one. So this was updated last year. I just updated the controller, so it's running EOS now, and I just did my annual monitor change a couple months early, but I'm not down this way very often. So I ran a few updates. I had to swap out the modem. I wasn't able to connect to the old one, so now I'm able to remotely log into this from my shop if I have to make any timing adjustments or anything like that. Running all Wavetronics here, all 12-inch heads. Original poles, but they're still in good shape. No countdown timers because the pedestrian traffic doesn't really warrant it. So we're also running a couple time of day plans here. And there's 5 time of day plans, or I guess day plans. 2 of them run pretty much all year. You have your 6:30 to 10:30 at night. It's just your standard timing plan. It's running a max and a dynamic max. I also just enabled red extend. So I usually do that with my 650 or 656, but I didn't have any at the time, so I used one of these legacy Wavetronic setups. But I popped in a, what do you call it here? A Click 114. Sorry, it's cold. Can't really think right now. So basically every other direction has, so phase 4, we didn't have enough wires to do, split it up to 4 and 8. So we just left it 4 only for the side street. Channel 1 for 2 and 4 in both directions is your standard detection. And then channel 2 is red extend. And then I set my red extend in the controller. And it's always a second more than the red clearance. So for 2 and 6, red clearance is 1 second, so red extend would be 2 seconds. Left turn is 1.4, so it would be 2.4. And coming out of phase 4 is 1.5, so it would be 2.5 if somebody runs the light. So not enough that people would really notice and take advantage of it, but just enough to, in case like a transport truck runs the light or something. So it's only 50 kilometers an hour here, so it's not like crazy fast, but like this guy coming down the hill he's coming in a little hot. So, and where we don't have, there's no advanced detectors here, but I do have an advanced zone set up. So this guy is going, he's gonna run the light. So he must have been out of the zone. So sometimes if they hit that zone at the right time, they'll get the red extend, which would be, so I have it set up for 11 and 12. So have your, you got your red extend. So 11 and 12. And then you got phase 1, cross switch is phase 6. So when 1 isn't active, it will go to 6. So let's go to 5. Oh, that's why it didn't do red extend. Oops, I didn't set it up. There you go. So red extend, there you go. So now that will red extend that phase. So channel 1, which is detector 5, is actually calling phase 2. And then 6, which is channel 2, is also calling phase 2, but it's red extending. And all the other zones are just phase 2. And then we're gonna go to 15. 15 is phase 4, 16 is red extend, 13 is phase 4, and 14 is red extend, but just for the other direction. There you go. So now we're set up. Pedestrian, basic 246. So you got your standard, like your 10-second minimum green and 7-second for the left turn, and just for phase 4 since it's low traffic. We got our ped clearances. We have an advanced walk or LPI for phase 4, a 2-second delay for phase 2, because if somebody tends to run, a lot of people will tend to run the protected permissive left. And once that light goes green, I just want to give that extra leeway. So if somebody runs it before the walk sign comes up. So 2 seconds is kind of my default, unless the road's a little bit wider. So, and I also set up a 5-second LPI for phase 6, and I've been rolling this out at a couple locations where we don't have slip lanes and people tend to turn right. So if I press that pedestrian button and I lock the call in, which I'm gonna do right now, so I lock the call in. So now there's a logic statement that basically says if there's a head call on phase 6, but phase 6 is not timing, and the active timing or time of day plan has to be 1, 3, or 4, which I'll explain in a second, then it will actually do a forced left turn LPI. So walk signs on for the 5 seconds. So even if there's nobody in the left turn lane, it will call up the left turn arrow, and it will basically just run the arrow for at least the minimum green time, which is 7 seconds. And it will just make people aware that if they are turning right, that there's a pedestrian in the crosswalk, just where it's a bit of a wide turn, and it's easy for somebody just to kind of make a rolling stop on the right here, if they're going like right on red or anything like that. So that was something I just kind of put on here. So the reason that it's time of day plans 1, 3, or 4 is because timing plans 2 and 5. So time of day plan 2, for example, will omit the phase 1 left. So we don't want it to bring up sorry, I'm having a brain fart here. We don't want it to bring up the left turn, so if that's the case, then we don't want that to happen. So yeah, basically it will just not do that. Sorry, it's very cold out here. So it will just kind of give you I guess it would just give you a standard LPI. So in that case, we want the other direction to be red as well. Or we basically, yeah, if the other direction's red. Okay, sorry about that. I thought of something and just wanted to do a little update. So, yes, now I have a second timing or logic statement in effect. So okay, so now I've basically edited the time, and event plan 2 is in effect, so I got it a little late, so now phase 1 is omitted. And what will happen is, because there's a forced left turn LPI, we want the other direction to still see a red light if somebody is crossing at that side. So I won't touch the other side because there's a slip lane, it's fine. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring up the phase, I'm gonna call phase 6. So now we're locked in, and we have another logic statement here in effect. So, see if I did this right. So, you're gonna see the walk sign come on, and both directions are red for 5 seconds, and then both directions go green, and then it will start doing ped clearance. So, when I was having my little brain fart there earlier, that's what I was forgetting to put in. So now it's in. So at night, if there's somebody crossing here and they happen, just so it doesn't have one direction hold red and the other direction hold green. Now it would be very rare that there would be like any confusion. So here we're gonna set the time back to 11 in the morning. So there, now plan 1's back in effect. So now if I hit phase 6, boom, look at that. Left turn comes up. No one's going left. So that's gonna gap out. And then we're gonna get a forced left turn LPI. And then it's gonna go green. And then call next through's on, so it's gonna basically force it to go to phase 2, and now the soft recall is back in effect. That clearance is almost done. And then the side street has a 7-second LPI. And I also have ped clearance through yellow since it's not a very long clearance. So if the call drops, so now we have 14 seconds, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 7, 6, 4, and if the call drops, which it might not, okay, so in this case it didn't, but basically if phase 4 call drops, it will actually start the amber clearance with the ped clear, but there's still enough red clearance in between, so it still meets those minimum requirements. I tend to do that on side streets where the roads are like a little bit wide. Yeah, the roads are like a little wide, but it's the ped clearance plus the walk is longer than the max time in the amber clearance, so you kind of want to keep it in so you can kind of keep that cycle length consistent. Otherwise you're getting like excessively long side street phases, which you don't really want. It's all this right when you think you have this stuff figured out, there's always something else with cycle lengths and splits and offsets and all that fun stuff. It's all very interesting, but I'm not about to explain that to you. So let's bring up phase 4. Oh, so I missed it. So I wonder if I even, oh, it's because we had calls. So let's go into my phase option. So look at that, we have dual entry. Got 1, 2, 4, 6, simultaneous gap 2 and 6. We have our ped reservice is on, so if there's no actual opposing call, you can actually get that phase 4 ped a little late. Non-actuated, got our flashing green. So yeah, so basically let me go back to my time of day plan. There's an event that happens in Digby usually at the end of July or end of August, early September, called the Wharf Rat Rally. And the Wharf Rat Rally is, I think it's like Atlantic Canada's biggest motorcycle rally, and they go up this street. So I usually get a call from the area manager in this part of the province. Actually, we might actually see that ped clear through yellow now. So 6, 5, 4. Yeah, there you go. So if there's no call, ped clear through yellow, back to green. This makes it a little quicker. So anyway, Wharf Rat Rally, big motorcycle rally that comes through this part of the province. And they want these lights to stay green. And historically, we just come into the cabinet, modify it, but I'd have to get somebody to do it, and I was having issues with that modem, so I wasn't able to place constant calls. So I took advantage of Cobalt's exception days, where you can set up different, you can have float holidays, and these would be the times that the Wharf Rat Rally would be taking place every year. Now, as the years go on, sometimes it's early September, so anytime I come down here for maintenance, I may have to like make some adjustments in this depending on when the Wharf Rat Rally lands, but it's typically pretty consistent. So basically what will happen is once the rally's taking place, it will actually enable a different timing plan, which is timing plan 2, which will give you a 20-second minimum green. I'll have a much longer vehicle extension. I'll be using walk 2, so it'll give you a longer walk time if there's people walking. Max 1, which would take place during like off-peak hours, would be still like 40 seconds. And then you have like your max 2, which is your 70 seconds. So basically, different parts of the day would have different max times. And then later in the evening, I'd actually enable max 2 for phase 4, because a lot of people tend to park at the superstore, and if they're leaving at the end of the night, I want to make sure I give them ample time to get out. But throughout the day, when I'm doing like a 70-second max time on phase 2 and 6, and the cross street does need to go green, I don't want to have it green for very long to disrupt the rally. Like, we still need to clear people out, but essentially it just minimizes it, that's all. And then we have our 25 seconds into the parking lot, so everyone's going this way. We want to give them a lot of time. So I kind of went over all the dates and the times. I researched the schedule for the rally. I checked all the days that it takes place, so this schedule should be pretty consistent with the Wharf Rat Rally schedule, so no one should really need to make any adjustments in this cabinet. It's a pretty unique timing plan, but I want to make sure that, you know, it's making as few disruptions as possible. And then this is your normal rest of the year timing plan, which is like your 15-second, 20-second dynamic, 35, 45, 20, 30. Got my red clearances down there too. So, and then just your standard 0.5 EXD, because all my extensions are built into the Wavetronics themselves, and I have zones set up, so I don't really need very much controller extension. And I only need 7-second walks here. And then my LPIs will work the same way. The force left turn LPI will work. And then at night it will just, you know, not do it. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So TBC, so I got my time-based control. It's just running free, since there's no coordination between this and any other light. Yeah, that's pretty much the setup. So other than that, we'll just run this like a normal intersection. I'll show you what I mean with the, I'll show you head phase 2. So we're gonna get a left turn. So phase 2 is coming up now. So phase 2 is green. then the walk comes on, just to help clear that out. And then it will go into standard ped clear, and yeah, so there you go.